Hi everyone, I am so happy to still see continued growth of this channel in subscribership and viewership, and even all the comments are contributions. Even if this is still small, it's still amazing. Now, I make new videos once a week unless life happens and I have to wait another week. It happens every once in a while, so by all means, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to catch new videos as soon as they are uploaded. This week I'm giving you the Stepford Wives. It was written in '72 and adapted twice to film. The first time in 1975, and that adaptation is pretty much a spot-on match to the book. And since it's written by Ira Levin, the same guy who wrote Rosemary's Baby, it's a horror that doesn't really conclude. We'll get to that in a minute. The 2004 adaptation is more of a dark comedy that requires you to really suspend your notion of disbelief. That we'll also get to in a minute. What the book and both movies have in common is the Eberhardt family moving to the town of Stepford, where all the men who join the association all turn their feminist wives into cooking and cleaning yes Barbies. And the two stragglers, Joanna and Bobby, find out how when it's too late. Now, what's only in the book is how the story starts and ends. Now, the story starts with the Eberhardt family already moved to Stepford. And in the movie, it starts with them with the car all packed up and ready to move to Stepford. In the '04 adaptation, it starts with a huge professional failure and mental breakdown for Joanna that prompts them to move out of the city. Now, near the end of the book, after Joanna loses Bobby to the Stepford plan, Joanna meets Ruth Ann, who's not in either movie, just before she loses herself to the Stepford plan, and the story leaves us with Ruth Ann wondering what happened. What the book and the '75 movie have in common are pretty much everything. After the family settles in Stepford, Joanna befriends Bobby and Charmaine and try to befriend the other wives and recreate some social groups she'd heard about, but none of them have any other interests besides cooking and cleaning, and they really are just a bunch of lonery homebodies for the most part. After discovering that there used to be social groups for women in Stepford, run by the very same homemaker Barbies that they are surrounded by, Joanna and Bobby get suspicious. Other elements make them more suspicious, like all these Barbies being wives of association members, one of which is a very talented artist who never misses a chance to sketch a wife. Then they see all kinds of labs and factories close together in town that make them suspicious of what's going into the water in Stepford. Then they find out just a little too late that all those businesses band together to make lifelike robotic versions of the wives that kill the person they are copying and move seamlessly into their lives. And then they all go grocery shopping at the same time and dressed in their Sunday best. What the book and the '04 movie have in common are really just the characters, the town, and the association. What both movies have in common is the scene where Joanna and Bobby go to visit the Sundersons unannounced, and they eavesdrop on an Olympic-level sexcapade. There's also, same but different, objects that raise suspicion. In '75, it's the sketches. In '04, it's finding these remote controls with the girls' names on them. The '04 adaptation is more evolved into what Stepford's answer would be to third-wave feminism, where women are captains of industry, flying as high as possible in their careers and raising families at the same time, and then cut down to size by some kind of crisis. Joanna has a nervous breakdown after being sacked from her job running a TV network after a huge reality show fiasco. And she's still a little tapped when they get to Stepford. And she finds the place very strange, but does find some camaraderie with Bobby, who is, in this adaptation, a controversial relationship writer, and Roger, who is, he's kind of the replacement for Charmaine in the 74 adaptation, who is, of their little group of three, the first to be programmed. Anyway, Roger is the more bold and outspoken half of a same-sex couple, which kind of makes this adaptation less about domineering women, not domineering, but controlling women, and then more about just cultivating the ideal partner. Anyway, they take a swing at involving themselves in local society, only to find that all of their neighbors, the wives, seem to share one personality, seemingly chosen for them by their ringleader Claire, who is married to the president of the Men's Association. She also sells all the houses in Stepford. She teaches washing machine aerobics at the Simply Stepford Day Spa, and she chairs the local book club where crafting books are all the rage. As it turns out, this town full of robots was her idea. Just when it seems like Joanna has been programmed, she was faking it the whole time, right up until Walter finished deprogramming every last Stepford wife. Now, the 2004 adaptation really requires you to suspend your notion of disbelief and ignore inconsistencies, such as if the Stepford program is really just computer chips implanted in the human brain and not full robotics, then where does Charmaine keep a card reader in her head? And where in her body is the cash coming from? And how does Bobby's hand not burn when she rests it carelessly on a burner? And if Claire was, and obviously still is, a leading brain surgeon and genetic engineer, then what the hell is this thing? And why is her husband 100% machine? Now, as I said before, The Stepford Wives was written by Ira Levin, who also wrote Rosemary's Baby. And it ends similarly to Rosemary's Baby with an in-conclusion, with the protagonist just rolls with it. The first movie in 75 ends the same way, but the 2004 movie ends with a conclusion. The Stepford husbands are put back in their place as a bunch of emasculated dorks who do what their wives say, mostly out of fear. And the deprogrammed survivors talk about it on the Larry King Show, with a little suggestion that Joanna has met Walter halfway by keeping her hair a lighter shade of red and wearing a little more color. And that pretty much covers all three versions of Stepford Wives. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back next week for Atlas Shrugged.